Now, the same set of steps that we discussed, let's just try to summarize. So, as part of the modeling flow, we have to firstly get the data. Then we have to clean, prepare, and manipulate the data. And we discussed what are the various steps that are involved into it, such that we get the clean data that can be fed into the model. And then, of course, we work upon training the model with the help of that historical data, such that it is able to learn on that data and predict some values for us in the future. Once the model has been trained, we work upon evaluation in order to see whether the validation results are good or not. If they are not good, we know that we need to improve the performance of the model. So that's where we try to optimize the model in order to improvise its accuracy, right? So all of these are the major steps or the phases that are always going to be a part of your machine learning project. And as I said, we intend to build these machine learning models in order to reduce the human efforts that were previously required when we were trying to do certain things manually. At the same time, we want such systems to be efficient enough to help us get certain future predicted values so that we can plan our strategies accordingly. So let's say, for example, if I am building a forecasting related model, where I am able to see that my company is going to, dip in terms of the sales in the upcoming 6 months. It's time for me to, think really hard in terms of, how I can improvise the sales so that I don't end up going into that dip, and I ensure that my sales are consistent over the next 6 months. At the same time, if I see that my company is going to get very high amount of profits, or the sales are going to be very good in the next 6 months, I will definitely understand and follow certain things to ensure that I hit that benchmark, right? So based on the future outcomes that we are able to see, we will definitely plan our business strategies accordingly, and that's typically where your prescriptive analytics also comes into the picture. So ideally, when you try to summarize machine learning and try to relate it to the types of analytics that you have, where we have those three major types, like the descriptive statistics, descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and the prescriptive analytics. So what happens is, descriptive analytics usually will help you as part of the very initial stages where you are trying to understand the problem statement and the data, where, as I told you, the client will be helping you with that entire process. And that's where you also utilize your own statistical knowledge, and you try to look at certain descriptive statistical values in order to understand the data even better, correct? So that's where descriptive analytics becomes a part of your machine learning or a data science project as such. Whereas if you talk about predictive analytics, that is the type of analytics where this entire process revolves. So right from pre-processing the data to building the model and evaluating it and improvising it, all of these steps become a part of your predictive analytics. And that's where you will be able to pass some data to the model, for which it will be doing the predictions, and you will be using those predictions, right? So what could happen in the future, that is what your predictive analytics will try to answer. And once you're able to answer that question of what will happen in the future, you will use those values in order to do the prescriptive analytics, as we discussed. So the company will be able to plan better strategies, plan in advance, do risk management. All of those things will become a part of your prescriptive analytics, and that again will help you get some better results. So all in all, your machine learning typically fits into the predictive analytics part. But all the three ideally go hand in hand, right? The descriptive first, then the predictive, and then the prescriptive. So all the three types of statistics are a part and parcel of any of the data science project. But machine learning, the topic that we are trying to focus upon in today's masterclass, is actually a major thing that falls under the predictive analytics related category. Okay. Now, having discussed all of these phases, and now that we have got a glimpse of what are the various things that you need to relate to when you are working as part of a machine learning project, there is one more thing that I would like to discuss with you, and that is mainly going to revolve around what expectations should you have from a machine learning model that you build. So obviously we spoke about this part that we will build a model and then we will evaluate it, and if the results are not so very good, we will try to improvise its performance, correct? But having said that, the question is, how much will you improvise, or how hard would you try to tune that model further in order to get you the best possible results? So that's something that I want to emphasize upon, that the machine learning models that you build, we can't expect them to give us the perfect kind of predictions or the perfect results, right? Because no model ideally would be 100% accurate model. Rather, when we get that high accuracy, we ideally doubt whether the model is really good or not, whether it is reliable enough or not. And there are certain other opinions with respect to extremely good working kind of models. But what I want you to understand here is why 100% accuracy is not something that we aim for. And if that is not what we aim for, then what is it that we aim for? So I just would like to take some time to describe something on the basis of this graph that is present in front of us. So if you look at this graph, you will see that we have the employee salary on the x-axis, which has been given to us in thousands of dollars, and on the y-axis what we have is the employee satisfaction rating. Okay, now if you look at this scatter plot, what we see over here is the kind of human tendency, right? The higher is the salary of the employee, the higher is his satisfaction rating, right? So more the salary, more is the satisfaction. That is the kind of trend that we see as part of this scatter plot. So if we try to describe the kind of relationship that we have between these two variables, we can call it like a strong positive linear relationship that we observe between the employee's salary versus his satisfaction rating. Now, this is about the relationship. But now let me tell you here that yes, we do observe that as the salary increases, the satisfaction rating also increases. But there is also some other thing that I want you to notice in this diagram. There are values where your x could be same, but your y is different. Like for example, if you there are many such points here, but let's take an example of these two employees. Okay, if you see, they both are earning somewhere around $70,000. Okay, but one employee has a lower rating and the other employee has a comparatively higher satisfaction rating, right? So what I'm trying to tell you here is that there are two different y's for a single x. So there is no such rule that if x is equal to so and so, then y is equal to certain value. Your y could be changing depending on the various other factors also. Okay, so all that I'm trying to conclude over here is, let's not assume that your predictions always will be very very accurate, because the data that we are going to feed to the model in itself is not so very accurate. It's not the perfect data, right? Had it been a perfect data, there would have always been a single y value for a single x value, and that would have made our task easy, isn't it? But if you see here, these two employees or even these two employees or these two employees, many such employees that you will see here have a different satisfaction for the same salary. And when the data in itself, the training data in itself is going to be a noisy data or an imperfect data, how can we expect the model to give us those perfect results? We can't, right? So that is where we need to understand that the goal of machine learning is never to make those perfect guesses, because machine learning deals in domains where there is no such thing. The real data is going to be noisy. It's going to be imperfect always. So there is no clear cut, information that the data would always give you, or clear cut patterns that it will always help you identify. There's always be noise in the data, which is nothing but the imperfections, and we need to deal with it. So then what do you expect? The model that you will be building should be good enough to give you some good guesses that will help you lead towards, those good strategic decisions, right? So the final decision making that you will be doing should be good enough. At least that much should be the performance of your model. So ideally, there is no benchmark in terms of how accurate should be the model. Sometimes 80% accurate model is also considered to be a good model. Sometimes even a 90% accuracy could be a bad one. So that differs from domain to domain. Let's say, for example, I'm working in a banking or a financial sector or any other in generic sector. That 70 to 80% also could be a good accuracy at times, and I would be happy and satisfied with the model that I have built. But the same is not applicable in a sensitive kind of a domain like a healthcare or let's say an atomic research kind of domain, because any mistake in such kind of domains could cost us the life, right? So when it comes to this kind of sensitive data sets that we work upon, there the benchmark for the good model automatically increases. So maybe you will always try to get an accuracy of about 93 to 95% or so, such that you can conclude that yes, this is a good model to be implemented into such sensitive industries. So the meaning of how good is the model changes from domain to domain. So it's never the perfect value that we should always try achieving. Of course, what we will try to achieve is the best possible value, right? Our model should be as accurate as it can be, but we do not really get this 100% accurate models in the real world, because as I said, the real world data is such, it is noisy, it is imperfect, and when you work upon such kind of data, we will never end up getting 100% result. That is ideally only possible when you are working upon some sort of manipulated data. Okay, so that's something that I mainly wanted to discuss with you with respect to this um, the expectation that you should be having from whatever machine learning model you're going to work upon in your project.